moments. Again, like I can see game 1 turning out so differently if he had ended up sniping stim instead of combat shields, or if he had taken a different approach. Was a very close defense. But last, we are now focusing on our upper match. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of King's Cove, we have the South Korean Terran player living in the land of Japan, representing Team Hyper 1. It is HonMonO. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the red Zerg player, representing himself, currently teamless. It is YoungYakov. Not to be confused with Young Hero. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat, as we have HonMonO moving out with the initial Proxy Turax. Oh boy, again, HonMonO, he's known to being a hyper-aggressive player. In a way, similar to Nicaract. I mean, Nicaract is aggressive, yes, but HonMonO, he's more cheesy than anything. Much more cheesy, much more all-in as a player in a lot of matchups. And we'll see if he goes by unnoticed here, as the Raxes are being laid down. So Proxy Turax here out of HonMonO. Now, I would usually say this should be Proxy Turax Marine with a bunker rush on the low ground to force a cancel and contain the Zerg player, but HonMonO is taking gases. This is a very unique HonMonO build. I do remember that Björn did do this. I'm pretty sure he took it from HonMonO, actually, like, fun fact. And that happened, I want to say, like, last year, but more than anything, this is a HonMonO build. And, yeah, Turax Reaper, not something we see too often in this matchup. Not something we see often at all. Oh my god, are we going through? So we're throwing down the third Rax as well. Let's go, Bobby, let's go. We're going Proxy Turax Reaper here, and meanwhile back at home, YoungYakov, he went hatch gas pool, has yet to really determine what's going on. Overlords are moving out to try to get a read on what's happening here. We do have an Overlord. Ooh, actually, not over the natural. And my apologies, this was not a hatch gas pool, it was a pool first opener. So again, I was a little bit distracted and focused on what HonMonO was up to, and really I should have been focusing on YoungYakov as well. Did open up with a faster pull, and he scouts, he sees, he confirms. Can he delay though, because the Reaper has arrived. SCV's under fire, the SCV goes down, and the third Rax is delayed. Yeah, big pickup here from YoungYakov, as the SCVs are shut down, which means the CC, has to be, the Rax has to be cancelled. Very nicely done. HonMonO does slip into the main. There are Lings waiting for him. Buildings lying in wait. Do see HonMonO looking for another way in, but he has been slowed down quite a lot. I mean, that does eat into his overall Reaper count. Back at home, he's transitioning to a factory. Dipping to the main. Dancing with the army. Oh, as the first Reaper is going to go down. And that's a rough loss already for HonMonO. Like, every Reaper counts. Every Reaper is so precious here for him. That's a round. Oh my god. Reaper barely gets away. Two of them are so low. They're so close to falling. The Queens, they're holding their own at that Reaper cliff. HonMonO going to be forced back. Behind this, still making more Reapers. Behind this, getting into Hellion production. He's still completely all in. Completely. And the longer this goes on, the better it is for YoungYakov as he builds up his Queen counts. Queens, ooh, they shut down a Reaper. One Reaper falls. Likewise, diving in towards the main. Shaving off some Lings, picking off one Queen. Not a bad pickup. Does get a Queen. But Ling Speed is almost done. Ling Speed is almost done, and with Ling Speed, these Reapers, they can't really get much more done. And Yakov is getting ready to break out. Ooh, as the second Queen falls, nice pickup. Second Queen goes down. Likewise, Lings collapsing in. Chasing down the Reapers. They attempt to. Getting one Reaper, getting a second. Oh, the Hellions have arrived to help support. But the surround, the Reapers, they get caught out. And every Reaper will fall. Now only 2 Hellions left. Soon to be 0. 0 Hellions. Ay, ay, ay. Likewise, YoungYakov making sure that, of course, the Raxes are lifted. GG gets called. There's nothing else left here as YoungYakov expands. And YoungYakov will take game number 1. Whew. GG. How do we just watch? GG, well played. YoungYakov will take a lead in the series. Again, HonMonO going for a very unorthodox build, an unorthodox proxy, and all in. Unfortunately, HonMonO, he was stopped at the beginning. With the denial of the third Rax, that was almost game then and there. That was almost game then and there. With that Rax being denied, with that Rax being cancelled, that was a brutal moment for him. That did slow down the original build of choice, and it meant that his Reaper harass, his Reaper aggression just wasn't anywhere near as strong as it should have been. Likewise, because YoungYakov opened up pool first, he had earlier queens as well. We'll try and do a better job at keeping an eye on YoungYakov's opener at the same time. It's just a little bit distracted. My apologies. Was otherwise distracted. Now we can dive in. Hello, papi. Oh, hello, Logic Unknown. Hello, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos. Is there a plus or minus score? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I did see, is that there's no like A plus or A minus or B plus or B minus. There's none of that. That's where the S rank comes in. Let's go. There we go, we're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of El Dorado, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Team Hyper 1. Down in the series, we'll see if we can bounce back. It is HonMonO. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player. We have the red Zerg leading the series 1-0. It is YoungYakov. Hello, what does Sparkling Tuna mean? All of our tournaments are aquatic themes. That is true. That is true. But there is a reference. If you know, you know. I think there's been a couple of people that have actually... I don't think anyone's like pieced it all together, but once we tell them, they're like, oh, that's cool, like for people that are aware. But fun fact, Sparkling Tuna Cup was originally meant to be like almost like a replacement to Alima League. Alima League was a Korean-based weekly tournament at a more Korean-friendly time zone, so STC was originally a replacement for that. I mean, fun fact, Alima League is now back. True, Alima League is now back, but that's what STC was in a way kind of like, you know, a reference to. So because of that, when it came to the name of the tournament, likewise we tried to reference some Korean players as well. One of course being the tuna. If you know, you know. But Dongwon in Korean is a brand of canned tuna, and there are a couple of players named Dongwon, and they have certain nicknames. The big one of course is Ryung. So Ryung, he's called the Tuna Terran because he's Dongwon. So that's why and because all of our tournaments, they're aquatic themed with like a mascot, like Sea Duckling Open or Grand Platypus Open or Tenacious Turtle Tussle. So we had to come up with an animal. So it had to be a tuna, obviously. So that's a reference to Ryung. Likewise, Sparkling Tuna Cup is acronym for STC. And STC is also a Korean player, the STC. Fun fact, we actually he retired for years and we casted him during SEL, if you were there for it. So that's why specifically we had to come up with a phrase that used the letters S, T, and C. So there we go. So 2 references in the name of the tournament. 2 references to Korean players. The words themselves, we just had to make them fit. So we chose Sparkling and Cup. I think we were like playing around with like Shining Tuna Cup or something at one point, like trying to come up with another word. But yeah, there we go. That's the origin of Sparkling Tuna Cup from way back in the day. That's how we came up with that. Likewise, there's also a similar story with the Tenacious Turtle Tussle as well. But we'll get into that next time. But there's also references in that. For now though, the initial Reaper does get across the map, does poke in. This time going to be a standard opener out of YoungYakov. Going to be hatch gas full. Reaper does get into the mineral line. Oh! We'll dip in, we'll dip out. So far, no major kills, no major snipes. Is going to be forced out. Likewise, back at home, HonMonO going for his own 1-1 opener into, let's go into a second factory, into mech. The scout, the link comes in, gets a full scout of the main base, third CC before starport, into second factory, into mech, into battle mech. And YoungYakov, he confirms. He confirms what is going on. HonMonO, he has been having a lot of fun with the new Cyclone, with the new old Cyclone, I should say. But he has been scouted, he has been found out. Hellions, they dive into the mineral line. Ooh, drones, they do line up. Links go down, and does he get a worker? He gets one. He gets 1 drone so far. Ooh, barely gets 2, and gets forced out. HonMonO, he gets forced out of the natural. And again, behind this should be working towards, I would imagine, Hellion Cyclone. Ooh, no, Blue Flame. Okay. Blue Flame is on the way. Continued Hellion production. But again, YoungYakov, he saw. He scouted the second factory. That is enough of a tell to throw down a Roach Warren. I would imagine he would respond with roaches, but we'll see. Ooh, going lair first. Bold move. Going lair first. There we go. Lair first into the Roach Warren. So again, YoungYakov is getting ready for the mech that's coming his way. Why host a premier tournament? It's going to be called a Mantis Shrimp Cup. Why? Maybe. Shrimp, no. Shrimp. We don't say shrimp in Australia. Prawn, baby. It'd be like... Fun fact, when it comes to our tournaments, we already have... If we ever host another couple of tournaments, one, we want to do something with an Emperor Penguin, 100%. We have to use a penguin in some way, shape, or form. And we were also thinking of an orca as well. As another mascot for another tournament series. So maybe one day. Maybe one day. Penguins and an orca. Until then, at least they dive into that. Oh my god, they dive into the third base. Nothing to defend. Where are the Lings? Where are the Roaches? The Roaches are too late. Drones are going down. They're left idle at the same time, though. YoungYakov is across the map. Lings, they bust into the mineral line. They bust into the main. And they're wreaking havoc. HonMonO otherwise distracted. He does not get the mineral line. His Hellions are forced back. He's defending back at home. He defends, but again, that did distract the Terran. That means that YoungYakov, he saves the mineral line. Shouldn't have, but did. Did save the mineral line. A very intense moment there. YoungYakov, he holds on. Back across the map. That's what we wanted. Magfill accelerators into Mass Cyclone into Battle Mech. Let's go. For those that maybe have not been tuning in over the past couple of weeks, the new patch, of course, is live, and the Cyclone has been reverted to an older version of the Cyclone. Nowadays, has a very long range, it does pack a massive punch, does more DPS. Like, in general, the Cyclone is insane. The downside of it, of course, is now it's more expensive, and you do need a tech lab to make the Cyclone instead of a reactor, so it can take a little bit longer to really get into Mass Cyclone, but if you can get there, it can get out of hand real quick. If you're watching, last week we casted Lima League Live, and we casted HonMonO versus Rogue, and HonMonO did 2-0 Rogue with Mass Cyclone. If you missed out, if hearing that intrigues you, if you want to see Rogue get Mass Cyclone to death in a best of 3, then check out the VODs on YouTube. It was crazy. did cast that last week. It was wild. But now though, YoungYakov is going to be moving out across the map. Ooh, and the Cyclones aren't ready. And here we go, YoungYakov cutting workers at just under 3-way saturation. Purely Roach Ravager. He's going to be pushing his way in. He does force his way up the ramp. HonMonO going to be forced back, hiding back against the Roaches. They bust into the mineral line. SCV's going to be going down. Actually, now he wants the army. He wants both. What does he get? So far, he gets 6 SCV kills. Nice kiting out of HonMonO. The Biles, they do send him away. HonMonO, he is picking up a couple of Roaches, but there's still reinforcements coming in. Boys being pulled back. Oh, Biles, they connect. They shut down the Hellions. And YoungYakov, he breaks in. He breaks into the natural. Widowmine's going to be going down. 22 SCV kills. From here, YoungYakov, he can just commit. Bleeding out a lot of Roaches, though. Again, these Cyclones, they've gotten a lot of value, but there just aren't many Cyclones. That is the problem here. As he's going for the kill, dives into the main. Boys are being pulled. Biles don't quite connect. And HonMonO will clean this up. He will clean this up, but not without losing 33 SCVs. Oh my god. So many workers, so many SCVs. Not like this. 35 workers going down. Reinforcements, they still hit the natural. Denying the E-bays. Pushing in towards the mineral line. HonMonO, he does have 2 more bases behind this. He's got to go away, stop running. His economy was crazy. But again, too greedy, right? He double expanded. A little bit too greedy here. HonMonO, he's getting caught with his pants down. The greed was too much. The double expand into gold. When really he needed an army. He needed Cyclones. And again, he has been punished. Roaches, they do peel off towards the mineral line. More Roaches just buying time in the main. Zoning back the army. Catching another Cyclone. And that's going to be 64 SCV kills. That's more SCVs than YoungYakov has drones. Remember, drone, he went for a 55 drone all-in. That's like 2.5 bases. 2.5 base economy. YoungYakov, he just sent it, papi. He just sent it. And he has broken the back of HonMonO. At this point, HonMonO, he's coping, Pappy. Cyclones are good, but they're not that good. GG gets called, and YoungYakov will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Whew. Let's go. No one said this was about food. True, true. Orcas, not orcs. What are you talking about? Orcas, Pappy. Like a killer whale. But GG, well played. With that, YoungYakov does take the series and does advance on to the grand finals. Again, HonMonO, game 1 was being a little bit cheeky, going for the initial Proxy 3x Reaper. Game 2, something a little bit more HonMonO-esque, going for a little bit of the mid-game play into Battle Mech, but alas, he was a little bit too greedy. He was caught with his pants down. Likewise, in game 1, we saw that YoungYakov read the opener very nicely, was able to shut it down, able to deny it early on, and snowball from there. GG, well played. With that, that does take us to the grand finals. Oh boy, it's going to be a best of 5 finals here between YoungYakov and Nickeranked. Let's go. But before the grand finals, we do have a raffle to host. We have La Rifa, Papi, La Rifa. Oh, un momento. Here we go.